Okay, so today we're going to take a look at the Smart Exchange. I get asked a lot about where to get lessons from, and the Smart Exchange is the best place to start. So in your internet browser, you want to go to exchange.smarttech with 2t's.com. If you're going to want to just browse some lessons, you can browse without any issues and take a look at different lessons. But if you're going to want to download, you want to sign up. So you have to click the sign in button. And if you've previously signed up, you just get a free one-time membership and you get access to the Smart Exchange and their training sites as well. So it's a great thing to have a sign up, and there's some information over here about what you get when you're a member. So now I'm signed in, so now I'm going to take a look at some resources. One of the first things that I point out to teachers is that you can browse down here by subject, by grade, or by file type. This is where, especially when it comes to grades, and the next part we're going to look at, it's important to take a look at the top right hand side to make sure you tell the Smart Exchange what country you're in. So if I click Canada, I have options to be in Canada in English or Canada en français. And what I suggest often to French teachers is you can also go to Europe and you can pretend you're in France if you want some extra French resources. But for today's purposes, we're going to be in Canada and we're going to look for some English stuff. The next thing I point out to teachers after they've had a look at the subjects or the grades or the file type is this middle gray button right here up at the top, the Standards Correlated Lessons. So I'm going to click on that. Here you can select your Canadian standards. So I'm going to pretend I'm in Alberta right now. So I go to the Alberta Program of Studies. I'm going to select, just for fun, let's go grade 6. And I want to look at grade 6 science. And when I click view, I see my curriculum is popped up right there. I don't need to go to the government website to have a look at the curriculum. And then if I click view resources, I have a whole list of resources that would go along with a particular outcome. I'm going to click this one that says Science Inquiry. And then let's say this one's Kingdoms of Living Earth. I can see in brackets here this is a Smart Notebook lesson. The next one down here says Layers of the Earth question set. Usually when it has something to do with a question, you know it's going to be Smart Response. So, or back in the old days they called them Sentio. So these are a good way for you to get not only response lessons but notebook lessons as well, and a good place to start. If I click preview, I'm going to scroll through and I can decide if I think that this is going to be a good lesson for my kids. If I think it's going to be a good lesson for my kids, I'm going to click this little button right here that says download. Now I'm working on a Windows machine, and every machine's a little bit different. When you decide you want to download something and you get the option either to open or to save, you always want to save it. And this comes down to your file management as well. My computer defaults to saving it in a downloads folder. So you can see right here that there's my name and there's a downloads folder. So here's all the stuff that I've downloaded recently, including this 5 Kingdoms notebook lesson. Then I can double click to open it, and then I can change it for the students in my class. So just because it's popped up on the Smart Exchange doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for your class. So you can now come in here and, just like any other notebook lesson, you can start to edit and change things to make it more applicable to your classroom. I'm going to close out of this. For today's purposes, I'm not going to save the changes. I didn't make any big changes, but probably by the end I'm going to want to move this out of my downloads folder and put it somewhere else that I can find it, like in a grade 6 science folder. But that's personal file management with that. I'm going to hit this Smart button and come back to the top of the Smart Exchange. This is the very opening page. And this is where you can also just browse by file type. So let's say you're doing Smart Response, you can click Smart Response Question Sets. That'll be a whole lesson of questions. If you just click Smart Response Questions, then you're just going to get one question. Let's say you're looking for new gallery content, and the gallery's been at 6,708 items for a really long time. This is where you're going to get more gallery stuff. So here's gallery collections, If I click on that, I'm going to get a whole lot of different options here of some additional pictures and videos and flash files. Now, if you see here on the left-hand side, I have some of the same options. Here I have 302 options for manipulatives, timers and water cycles. Lots of these ones by school are flash apps. Here's a cool one, the Smart Speller, that I really enjoy. And here's 11,000 additional items that are not in your original gallery that are really, really useful, and you can download these one at a time. So let's say I want this periodic table to go into my gallery collection. I'm going to hit download. I'm going to save it. Now if I click open folder, this is my gallery item right there, the one that says SCORM. And all I have to do is double click on that and it'll go into my gallery. Notebook is launching and it's going to go right into my gallery, and there it is. And when you do stuff like that, it'll go into my content. So here's a great image of the periodic table that you didn't have access to before. I'm going to not save those changes. So this is just a quick overview of all the different things that you can do on the Smart Exchange. And here on the left-hand side, you can see all the different types of content that are accessible to us here. Notebook lessons, dual user lessons, math tools, questions, question sets, table activity packs, table apps, the new 3D content for the Windows and the Document Camera 330. So there's a lot of new 3D content going in. Gallery collections, manips, images, PDFs, Smart Sync collaborations, Smart Ideas lessons, and videos, all available to you that will then also be cross-referenced by your standards. Lots and lots of stuff on the Smart Exchange by educators just like you, and third-party designers like this one here, DesignMate, and educators at Smart. So great place to start or to continue to go back to get lots of content for your Smartboard.